broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I
for
hate these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I say to you, community, let's take up space. We weren't supposed to make it through the vast Atlantic or back to the door of no return. So shine like the gold in our skin and the first porch light ever lit. 'Cause we lit and we stay lit. It is with love that everything we touch is ablaze with brilliance. We made jazz and had the blues so hard we're still nodding our heads, but this time we sampled What a Wonderful World. What a way to escape the pain and revel in joy. To the Marsha P. Johnsons who woke up our pride. To the Jimi Hendrix who burned his guitar. For the tennis-playing sisters, for those who didn't make it. And I promise not to fake it. We still want our 40 acres, a mule, and reparations. To the barbers and stylists who still carry on tradition. For the laughter through the tough times, the dead and the living that we hold sacred. To be a people who built empires out of sticks and stones and turned the names they called us into songs. We are still here.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. And that's right. We are still here. That's Chelsea Richardson right there. People always ask who does the introduction. Want to welcome you here. Morning Update Show. Again, solo today, but I'm not alone. Trey Holiday is off for the rest of this week, but we're joined today, excuse me, by Mr. Space and Grace himself. Possibilities over problems. The brother's always got a great attitude, and for sure, because this time he brought the wife with him, Kimberly. He's going to use this opportunity live and direct to uplift her. How you doing, Sean? All right, Sean Good in the building. We also got the culture creator himself. And me and this guy have actually been around the world several times, right? We're in London together, we're in Tanzania together, in Bahrain together, and somewhere in between. I'm talking about DJ Topspin. You know what I'm saying? We go way back, Garfield High School in the building. Great show. He's going to be talking about him and Jake Grabrod. A few other people went to see the Nutcracker last night. And so, you know what I'm saying? We going to get the hood report on the Nutcracker and catch up on that. But ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome. Right now, it's the perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at KBCS 91.3 Bellevue College, as well as the South Seattle Emerald. Also want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Right there, he's got SoundCloud going into the links. But you can also check us out on Google, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Just type in Converge Media Network. Lots of stuff going on right now around coronavirus, COVID, the vaccine, the booster. We got a link that we're putting in right there from Public Health, Seattle, King County. So if you need to get vaccinated, if you need a booster shot, if you need information about testing, or if you're still hesitant, or if you are hesitant, I want to use the word still, and that's really where we'll be pushing this space and grace, Sean, because, you know, we don't want to shame people in our community who might be hesitant about the vaccines. We always leave a lot of space and grace for them as well. You can hit that link right there for Public Health, Seattle, King County, and get more information. People are traveling. Testing is crazy right now. So if you have plans to travel internationally and have to show test results, or if you're just traveling and you're going to see your fam bam, you know what I'm saying, and you want to get tested first to make sure that you're not carrying anything, make sure and hit that link right there. Got some important information here from this coming out the mayor's office, and actually we're going to walk up there at 12:30 City Hall. We're only 2 blocks away. The mayor's going to hold a press conference talking about winter weather, the inclement weather that's coming here. We want to make sure and let people know that this Saturday, this is Christmas Day through Wednesday, December 29th, there's going to be 2 severe weather shelters that are going to be open from Christmas Day through the 29th. One's going to be the Seattle Center Exhibition Hall, 301 Mercer Street. We'll put this up on our website later on today, 301 Mercer Street. The second one's going to be Compass Housing Alliance, 210 Alaskan Way. So the city is making plans for people to get them off the street and into shelter during this inclement weather. We're going to go and catch up with Mayor Durkin and all the people, SDOT and everybody else at 12:30, and we'll report back to you on that. A really great thing yesterday in our home neighborhood, the Central District, 23rd and Jackson. Man, this was just a warm fuzzy, wasn't it, Jake? Me, Jake Grabrod, Omi, Shaylon was up there, Salman. And, man, the community came together. I tweeted out yesterday. I said random acts of kindness is breaking out all over 23rd and Jackson. Yo, like real good feeling there yesterday. And Jake actually got a lot of great photos, but a lot of the photos we never show here because a lot of times we don't want to show people's faces who might be in need unless we have their permission to. But man, it just really felt good being up there on 23rd and Jackson, and it really felt good to see us serving us. Then after that, we went to Catfish Corner and got served again. We covered in the neighborhood. What else do we have here? So looking back, we got one segment here looking back. We got a busy show, but I thought this was an important one to get in today because tomorrow's Feel Good Friday, and we're actually I'll let you know real quick. Shayna Shepherd came here and recorded in front of our iconic wall. and we're ready to release that tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a big day right here. I'm filling in for Trey Holiday on Feel Good Friday. But we wanted to take a look back, our stories, our big stories and segments from 2021. And who knew? Converge. We ended up in the MOHI, the Museum of History and Industry.
America is a work in progress, and if we don't work, it won't progress. We need to understand, be very clear, that a democracy only works when we work. Everybody has a job to do. We're all stakeholders in this society. Our share is the vote, and we need to take our role as shareholders in this country very seriously.
I think this is an exhibit that really hits people at a personal level. What I learned from this exhibit, and I had to learn it, it wasn't intuitive to me, is that democracy is an unfinished project. Now is the time, I think, for us to remind ourselves that this is a project, we are a part of it, and its success ultimately depends on us. And it requires all of us to be a part of it. It has been, at best, a partial success, and it has a whole lot of failures that we can correct, that we must correct. And to me, the exhibit was revelatory of that.
My entire life, I've always believed that actions speak louder than words. You gotta walk the walk now. Now it's time to go walk, bro. You talked enough, now let's go walk it. What if the city stood up like this for itself? How much change could we affect here? How much change can we get done here if we come out and stand up like this for where we live?
Democracy is everything to me. I think that the United States has that open system. I mean, I've visited other countries. I've been outside of the United States, and I've seen it in other ways and forms. And still here in the United States, we have probably one of the best forms of democracy, though it's really hard for us sometimes, and particularly now.
Being in a museum and a repository of history, I think that it's important that people in Seattle realize that the Seattle protest is a chapter in a very long book here in Seattle and in the state of Washington for people standing up. And we're living this chapter right now, so we feel it. It's emotional, it's intense. You know, I'm still living with injuries from the protests.
You can tell me that you believe in me and that you're here for my life. Show me. Show me. What we did was we would march every single day to different parts of Seattle, go to council members' houses, talking to them, getting them to engage with the community that is most impacted by systematic racism.
Democracy is best when we challenge it. When it's under attack, it actually gets stronger. All the protests we saw this summer, all the protests that you read about in this exhibit that go back hundreds of years, they have made democracy live up to its promise. Imperfectly, of course, but there would be no progress without those challenges.
We can't let people forget what happened in Seattle. And I hope that it emboldens those out there younger than us to be prepared to write that next chapter. Because this story, this saga called democracy is continuously being written daily. And I hope that what our city went through last year will inspire people to pick up that pen and continue to write the next chapter of democracy in our city.
We can look at action from sitting down and writing a letter, talking to your neighbor, to being out on the street, you know, with the protest sign, pushing back. So there are all sorts of ways to join this democracy and this effort.
Being able to have that many dialogues with that many council members on the city level, on the county level, it was like, yo, you really can do this. We really can do this. Like, this is a real thing that can happen. Somebody has to stand up for what we're living in. We have the power to change this city, and all it takes is somebody inspiring somebody else to do it. And this is who I gotta be. Whether I like it or not, you know, this is who I have to be in order to ensure that my brothers grow up and die from natural causes, not the police.
We, the people, the citizen stakeholders of this city, this county, and this state, we have to reclaim our power. We have to reclaim our authority. And our chapter is long, our book is long, our history for standing up is long, Our history of getting beat down is long. But you know what? In the fight for democracy is very much like that phoenix that continues to rise from the ashes. And if there's anything that I want people to take away is study this museum, study these movements, study things that occurred, study advances, and then see what happened when people took their foot off the gas.
Definitely not taking our foot off the gas here in 2022. And man, I gotta give a big thank you right here to my guy, Jay Gravbrot. Yeah, you know, I mean, the red iPhone, people might remember, the red iPhone. One, Converge Media is, as an organization, is in the Mohawk, but as an object, the red iPhone is there in the Museum of History and Industry. And oddly enough, my slides that I had on as well, because I was always caught off guard over there in the chop and everything else, and so just out in slides. But people heard me, and you know, this red iPhone became iconic. But there wasn't a step that I took out there without Jake Gravbrot, you know what I'm saying, next to me and everything else. And so he was never on the camera, but always there keeping me safe. So thank you, sir. We're going to take a quick break right now. And speaking of that, this is an odd couple. Let's see how they do here. We've got DJ Topspin, nice handcrafted motion graphic right there. And we've got Jake Gravbrot, and they both went to the Nutcracker last night. Well, let me put this in here. Bam. You know what I'm saying? On my program, they both went to the Nutcracker last night. So we're going to get their opinion from DJ Topspin and from Jake Gravbrot. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
Yo, and ho. It's Jake from Converge Media here. You know me, I've been getting it outside in some tropical environments lately, but I'm home for the winter and wanted to pass along some tips from the Seattle Department of Transportation to help all of us in these cold weather months. When it snows, and we gotta bet it will, be a good neighbor. Clear your sidewalks near your home, business, or job site. Keep those paths wide enough so a giant like me could walk through them. If you don't have to drive, then don't. Take it from me, I'm a public transit connoisseur in this city. You can get around by bus, light rail, or streetcar all over the region. And when your feet do hit the street, make sure that you slow it down a notch. I'm telling myself this as we speak. Roads and sidewalks can still be slick. If you need more helpful hints, visit the winter weather page at www.seattle.gov/transportation/winter-weather. Stay safe, people. Chill so you can enjoy the chill.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
What's up, everybody? Man, I am so excited to be here because last night I got a chance to go to the ballet for the first time ever, because I'm sure maybe you look at me and probably don't immediately think like Jake goes to the ballet all the time. And if you think that, you would be correct. That was my first time at the ballet. And thanks to Pacific Northwest Ballet, not only did I, but a few other of my coworkers and friends here from the Converge and Converge family got a chance to go. But before I introduce who we got on the show today, I want to drop a little bit of facts about the Nutcracker, because the Nutcracker is what we saw last night. And I'm sure if you've celebrated any Christmas holiday, season here in America, you have definitely heard about the Nutcracker, and more than likely, you've probably actually heard the music of the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker was an 1892 two-part ballet that was
created in Russia, and the score was done by the epic, one of the greatest of all time, Tchaikovsky. So the music itself is something that you automatically know. You walk through a store and you've heard the music from it, but I've never actually had a chance to see the ballet in person. And I had a chance to go with my buddy over here, DJ Topspin.
What's going on, Jake?
What's up, man? Welcome.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. It's been I feel like the least you and I on the show together has been about probably 8 or 9 months or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was last spring or something like that.
Yeah, 2021's flown by. So
Blink.
You went to the ballet last night. What you think about it?
Man, it was just what I needed for to kind of conjure up the holiday spirit. Just in a reminder of how important art is in these times. Just to see a story told without words, just dance and like you were saying, I believe this is my first time seeing the Nutcracker. I think in totality, same thing. I know pieces of it, from commercials or, like I said, just the music being in society. So that was kind of a ill sensation just watching it. Like, oh, I hear where this is going. I know where this is going. But just the depth of the scenery and just the awe of artistry, basically, all the layers, all the moving parts, the foreshadowing, the actual shadowing, how the pulley system, just the format of theater in general is calming, but kind of the original entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. That's something really to think about, that original form of entertainment.
Yeah, I felt like it kind of took me back to a place just like where you observe art, like in a coliseum, basically, and it's just this the vantage point and everything that they do to make it come across like a storybook, from the costume design, how the colors pop out, the little details, the everything, the motion of it is kind of like it's all these forms of entertainment in one, kind of like a magic show and a dance performance at the same time, as far as some of the surprising elements. Like, wow, it's not often that you see space really controlled like that.
Well, with a full orchestral background to the entire thing, because there's there's nary a moment that you don't actually have music, and if you don't, it's coming. It's probably just that it hasn't hit your ears yet.
Yeah, no, you probably not 5 seconds with more than 5 seconds without music happening. In that particular ballet, but just all the pieces and the everybody being in sync, and just it's 2 hour chunks of a performance, but those hours are meticulously choreographed and you just see everyone dialed in. You see the what is it? Poetry in motion. Really, that's what I thought to myself last night. I was like, this is truly that's the definition of ballet. It's explaining without words. Yeah.
One thing that I really noticed, and we talked earlier about, like, before the show started, we talked about just some of the detail work that goes into it, from the set design to the lighting, the costumes. You mentioned it just a second ago. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I really noticed from the jump, and as somebody who has never actually seen the Nutcracker before, I don't know the story. I didn't know the story going into it. I was just like, I'm going to go and I'm going to take this all in. So the moment that you started to see the dancers on stage, it was just 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And I started, watching from there, and you see a bunch of other kids. And at first I actually was like, is this an orphanage?
Right.
Because of this one thing, there was so much diversity in the cast. Right. That I thought, wow, well, maybe this is like, okay, this is an orphanage.
I had that brain hiccup too. I was like, am I watching Annie? Or, like, is that guy the what's the protagonist in Annie?
Daddy Warbucks?
Yeah, I was
like,
right?
Right?
Yeah. I was like, is that kind of figure? And I was like, no, this is Nutcracker. And although I hadn't seen it, I was like, I know I'm not bugging, but yes, that similarity was glaring for me too.
Yeah.
I'm just definitely glad I had a chance to go. It kind of jump started my appreciation for, like I said, the importance of artistry, especially in these times where it's kind of bleak in a lot of different ways and aspects. But that original form of kind of escapism was welcomed.
Yeah, absolutely. The Pacific Northwest Ballet is obviously hosting the Nutcracker. And one thing I actually read before this, you know, and doing a little bit of research for anything that I'm going to guest on, and this is not just for Pacific Northwest Ballet, but just in general, you know, the Nutcracker itself is traditionally a holiday time that's run. And what I read was that for most of these ballet companies that put this on, 60% of their revenue is actually generated during the time that they run the Nutcracker, and then 40% of the revenue is coming from the rest of their, you know, pieces that they do throughout the year. Wow. So I just thought that was, you know, interesting. Also, should mention then too that this, if I'm correct, we have another 5 days left that the Nutcracker is still going on for until it goes till the 28th of this month. So if you haven't had a chance to see it and you want to check this out, I think both of us would highly recommend it. Just like you said, you know, I'm not traditionally somebody who goes super hard into like the holidays, but this actually kind of made me feel festive. So
yeah, it just did just that. It's just like, hey, smile a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did, and we did, and you know, I think I enjoyed an evening that I had no other plans, and I said, let's go to the ballet. So
you made the right choice.
Absolutely. Anything else you got going on, man? I saw your Instagram actually recently, and I was like, what's the schedule look like for the month?
Well, I have a feeling that, you know, come New Year, we're going to be back in the house, like, you know, LL Cool J and them. But day after Christmas, I'll be at STK. Steakhouse in Bellevue, actually all day long for the brunch set as well.
That
as
sounds
dinner.
Good. You need a like, I could just like scratch some records for you while you out.
I'll be doing that, and then New Year's event in Tacoma, you know, and seeing what 2022 has to offer. I'm actually doing a wedding New Year's Day, so it doesn't stop with me.
I know it doesn't. You keep busy, man.
If I'm gonna do this, I got to be doing this. So. I stay doing it.
You and me both. I know how that goes for sure. All right. Well, shoot, that was awesome. I had a good time being able to talk with you about the Pacific Northwest Ballet's The Nutcracker that we went to last night. And
big up to all the artists out there.
Absolutely. And shout out again, you know, to the Pacific Northwest Ballet for actually putting a diverse cast together and making me go, wait a minute, what am I watching? It was really cool. I mean, and I say that in the best possible way, you know, because to be able to see as many different people represented, and you see children in that audience. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can really actually impart on our kids is a worldview, you know, a culture. And you can gain so much just by being around art, and to see art done by so many different types of people. That's the kind of stuff that I would love to see everywhere that I go. So shout out to Pacific Northwest Ballet for that. I don't know what we got up next. I do know what we got up next. I mean, we got a break coming up. And then after that, let me start again. What we got coming up next, we got Sean Goode in the house, and Omari's going to get back on set and talk to Sean Goode. And I always love having this guy in the building for so many different reasons. So I'm going to step out of this chair. We're going to do a little swap up, and we'll see you guys in a few.
These hands bear fruit and witness through muscle and memory to that which cannot be taught. Passing down the blueprint of flowers and wringing waters from the root, bringing nourishment to the masses. There is no grade that can attain the heat that we sustain. A path unclear to most, and still we press on. We flip survival into revival again and again. Be reminded of what you come from, for life is the foundation of every generation.
from Lincoln Center Theater that brought you The King and I and South Pacific comes a revival of the most perfect musical of all time, My Fair Lady.
Playing the Paramount Theater December 28th to January 2nd. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
All right, welcome back to the morning update. Yeah, you got to adjust that. Grab Bryce real tall. Bring the camera down some. There we go. Welcome you back here to the morning update show. Before I jump into it here with our guests, I want to put up this overlay. This is a photo here from the Nutcracker. That's kind of what Jake was talking about there. You know what I'm saying? A real diverse crew. And a few other things about last night I want to bring up is that quite a few people who came along to Converge night at the Nutcracker, man, they brought their kids. And that's really what we wanted to do, is for young people to see the ballet and the Nutcracker the first time. Was that Malia's first time? Yeah. So, I mean, it's big shout out to all the kids who went last night. And also, if it's ever Converge night somewhere again, if there's an intermission, you can meet the whole team at the line right there that sells the drinks. You'll see, you'll find all of us there. All right, moving on. Welcoming back to the set, Mr. Sean Goode. How are you?
Man, I'm good, brother. I want to create some clearing before we get started, though. Okay. So first, you left me off the Belize trip, right? And we've been back and forth about this one, right? And now the Nutcracker thing, right? What does it actually mean to be a part of the Converge team? I mean, at what point do I got to get it tatted someplace, right? Like, what does it take?
No, I think this presents a great opportunity for us to be able to get you and your beautiful wife, Kimberly, who's joined us here today, some tickets to the Nutcracker. There's still a few more showings. Can we do that for you?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a matter of fact. Let me ask the real boss. Is that okay with you, boss? All right. Well, we're going to, actually, I'm glad you brought this up, because what Pacific Northwest Ballet said, if there was any additional people that we weren't able to get in yesterday, that they got tickets for us after Christmas. So I got a pair just for you.
I appreciate you, brother. I'll be waiting on that and the Alaska Airlines tickets to hit the inbox, man, when you get a chance.
Yeah, you're going to have to fight them away from Jake. So, you know what? It's crazy, because a lot of times when you come on the show, it's because, like last time, you guys made an announcement with raising the minimum wage there, Choose 180, or different initiatives. But this time you came on the show, I sent you an email and I said, you know what? Something's on my heart saying that I need to invite you back over here before the year ends. And I said, I don't know what you might have to say. It might be something, might be nothing. But I just knew that the year couldn't end without you coming back on air, because you've been so inspirational to so many people. I'll be honest with you, it's not too many guests that come on here that are able to adjust my view on something. I mean, everybody, it's a fair space for everybody, and, respectful space. But, I'm like, But I keep coming back to our conversation probably 7-8 months ago, when you just talked about the power of grace, and you talked about, man, just remembering that people have made space and grace for me and for you. And when we were dealing with these young people, that we can't forget that. And from that day, that's become part and parcel of my vernacular. And I'm always trying to find a way to we got to leave some space and grace, man. So one, I wanted to tell you that, you know what, you impacted me that day.
Well, I'm honored, though. What Converge has meant to me personally over the course of these last, 20 some odd months. I mean, I remember, and I've talked about this in the past, I remember being at my home in South King County in the midst of the pandemic and watching video of you on the front lines and being able to be tapped into what's happening, knowing that I can't be there, but I still want to understand, right? That I still want to be present to those pain points. And you brought us to those pain points. The Converge team brought us to those pain points. And then from there, you hosted candidate forums, and you hosted forums about violence in our community. And you and the team have continued to create space to amplify Black voices and to exemplify why Black media matters. And I'm honored, bro, to be on this journey with you. And I want to, let's just be 100, right? I know that you have lots of people who are reaching out about your branded hoodies, right? And I just want to create space and grace to be like, family, O is a really good friend of mine. And I'm sure that he would love to rep all the causes out there. O rep and Choose 180 has less to do with the organization, and the work we do is impactful. And it has a lot more to do with the bond that we share when we imagine what's possible for community. That if we all would commit to a new direction and have the support necessary to honor that commitment, the possibilities we can create are endless. And I'm grateful that you rock that hoodie, not just because it reps the brand, but because you embody the cause in the way that you lead.
Yeah, well, I'm a believer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, the best thing is that I believe in the organization, but I believe in you.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot.
Nonprofit leaders, nonprofit boards. I got a text message from a nonprofit last night telling me that their board approved a living wage raise increase for their entire team, right? And so I'm incredibly excited about all the things that have been put into place and those ripples that are going to continue to move forward. My commitment to next year personally is really being invested in the collective us. Our organization has a platform, and if we're real, right? The fact that I get to be a Black man leading this organization, but also a Black man who's as fair-skinned as I am, the way that colorism plays out, I get to be able to share space and platform in places that other people don't. So for me, 2022 is all about advancing the collective us and making sure wherever work is being done in our community, for our community, that work is being amplified in an intentional and meaningful way. We've done a great job at Choose 180. People are really familiar with our work, but our work is not a standalone organization. We exist woven uniquely into the fabric of community-based work that's serving to stop young people from engaging in some of these challenging and problematic behaviors and supporting the families so they create healthy environments for young people to thrive. And all of our work needs to be lifted and amplified in order for us to converge at a place where young people are seen as possibilities and not problems.
Yeah, and man, our young people need as much support as they can get. I went to a meeting after there was a gunfire up there at Garfield High School.
Yeah.
I went to the meeting up there. One of the things the principal, Dr. Hart, said, and then the PTA president was like, man, they just need adults to come down and activate the space to be engaged with young people. Whether you might just run track up there on the track, or maybe you want to sit there and mentor, or maybe you want to be around. But it's like our young people have such a need, and man, there's just a lot of gap. I mean, for me, I really admire your work, because sometimes if you look at it from the macro level, it's just too overwhelming. It's like, where do we start?
Yeah.
But you're always able to find that point of where to start.
Well, we start with one person. And if one person commits to one person, then we have enough people serving each other. And that's really what this thing's about. We've gotten away from how can we show up as community to serve each other, right? Instead of like, how do we fund people to do great things to serve many, right? Like what happened in the CD yesterday is an example of that. Right, you get several community-based organizations not showing up as their orgs, but showing up as people who are just there to serve people. Like, that's possible everywhere and anywhere. One of the dilemmas we have is if we look at the young people whose behavior is being criminalized in some of these acts of violence, they don't necessarily live in the neighborhoods where they're getting caught up at. And so their families are south of Seattle. So we need people who are still living in the space that they're native to be able to step up and lean in and be present. Even those that aren't necessarily doing this as a profession, but are able to do it because they have a passion.
You spoke on something right there, and this was actually, can you play that again? The toy drive. I bring that. We were asking like, okay, well, who do we tag? Who do we put in here? Who's responsible? All these guys were like, bro, it don't matter. We out here trying to get these toys out. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was out in front like, well, make sure that you hashtag this or put that. It was like, we got to get these toys out to these kids.
Right. And this is one of the powerful parts of this dynamic shift where organizations that are community based and not like the huge monolithic organizations are leading the way. I mean, that clip faded out with Ted, right? Everybody knows Ted, right? And they just don't know Ted because he works for Community Passageways. He's been in the community forever, right? But being able to create the space for folks like Ted to do this professionally when they've been doing it out of a place of passion is transformative. And organizations like Community Passageways or Alive and Free that's connected to the YMCA of Greater Seattle or Freedom Project, Collective Justice, Creative Justice, there's countless orgs that we could call out and mention are doing that. They're creating spaces for folks who have lived experience that are passionate about this to be employed in the way that they're serving and do it in a way that's transformative. And clearly, man, I remember how challenging Christmas was, right? I remember the myth of Santa quickly being dispelled when the big truck would pull up in front of the house and drop presents off at our door because that was the only place gifts were going to come from, right? Like I hold on to those memories and they anchor me daily because like I know the pain. And that pressure that my mother must have felt, the pressure that to be able to provide, to create something, and like the beauty of folks that have had that pain, that have suffered in those ways, to be able to release that pressure, like that's transformative, not just for the young people, but for us that get to do that service.
Yeah, nah, it was good to see them little buddies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As people was out there for them, the community it was just a real good feeling yesterday, man.
Yeah, and it's good people who are doing it, right? Like these are young people these are people who young people can look up to, right? Like, we can all like close our eyes and see Nino Brown like throwing turkeys off the back of the truck, right? Like these aren't Nino Browns, right? These are people who you can look up to and say, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be like Ted. I want to be someone who grew up in this community, who loves this community and is finding a way to serve this community. Like if we can grow a generation of young people up that aspire towards service, and then we marry that to making sure that these jobs have living wages attached to them, then what we do is we create a whole new wave of young people who are committed to serving community and are finding their way to do it as professionals. Like that's when we talk about generational changes, generational shifts. That's why Black media matters so much, is because we need to be able to look and say, Big O, right? He can do that, right? Then we can do that too. That's why the Nutcracker representation mattered so much. So when young people show up and they see themselves reflected in the ballet, then they can say, oh man, like I can dream towards that too. I can aspire towards that too. In Seattle in particular, where there's such a small percentage of us, it's imperative that we make ourselves present and we make ourselves public and forward-facing as much as possible for the sake of our kids, so they can see what can be and we can live into that with them.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy yesterday. It was also a good feeling because quite a few parents who had their kids in line was like, Omari, we see you, man. We watch Converge. Come over and say hi to my kid and everything else. And it was like, I'm used to meeting it's kind of like, oh, hey, whatever. But man, when you had these mamas over there and some of them daddies is in line, and it was like, man, I'll be showing my kids you on Converge. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, this is Omari from Converge. And sitting over there with them young kids in line, man. That was such a great feeling. And you're right, it's the representation of it. Everyone guy said, man, see, they got that Black media. Mm-hmm. They got a Black media channel. They can do it. And man, yeah. One thing that I do know is I want to put Converge as close to the center of community as possible.
Yeah. And you're doing it. And you're doing it without barriers. Like we've been rocking with each other at this point long enough for me to be able to see close enough that you don't close the door to anybody, right? Anybody that wants to come and speak, come and share, whether they're an elected, right, or whether they're a community member, whether they're a community organization. You keep this platform open, particularly for Black voices, because you want to be centered in that, and you don't just talk about it. You really walk it out, and it's clear from the folks that you have that feature here. But furthermore, for the impact that you're having in the community at large. I mean, the streams aren't reflected in what just happens when it goes live. It's all the ripples that happen after that. And man, like I am because you are. And together, man, the collective us, 2022 is going to be on fire.
I know this guy. He was spitting game when y'all first met, huh? It was undeniable. What they can't. I'm talking to Sean's wife here off camera. It's just irresistible, huh?
I mean, look. It would have to be. It would have to be. I mean, when you wake up in the morning and you recognize that you are married to the most amazing woman in the world, when you recognize that you have the privilege to be married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, and you know that like it's not because of your great looks that you've been able to live into this level of achievement. Beyond that, she's brilliant. She just published a piece that I shared on my social platforms this morning, and it's all about the power of silence. And she like did this really dope poetic thing where she intertwined her personal narrative of being challenged with like using her voice with all the silent letters that are within words, and how silence creates space and power. I mean, like, bro, she has it all. She is all of the things with capital letters and superlatives in between. And I get to be married to her. So yeah, absolutely, man.
You definitely lucked up.
I look every single morning. Morning.
Listen, this is the last time tomorrow's our last show for the year. So the next time we come together is gonna be next year. Yeah. So, brother, and we got some time here. So it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna uplift your wife here on air because we know that's what you already do. But one thing I wasn't able to pull the clip though, and you do find a way to always work her into stuff, which is great. But we talked about the daily commitment and the show up. Yeah. And you were like, yo, it was something like, hey man, we have to show up just like I show up with my wife. My wife asked me every morning, how did I sleep? I said, it's like I slept next to an angel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a commitment to different things in my life that really pushed me forward, right? Like it's that commitment in my marriage to be brand new every day. Like, I don't believe that you should ever bring yesterday's love into today. Because if you start bringing yesterday's love into today, you can bring yesterday's troubles, you can be yesterday's drama, yesterday's stress. Like yesterday gets to stay in yesterday. Today is brand new. We're going to go ahead and live in today with some brand new and fresh love, right? I think about it like there's this biblical narrative about manna coming from heaven, right? And they woke up in the morning and there was fresh food available. But if they tried to store it, it would go bad. Right. And I don't want to store that love because my wife deserves something fresh every day, that fresh manna from heaven. So I'm going to give that to her. But it's not just love that's fresh with my wife. It's this commitment to grace. And grace has to be renewed every day because every day we're falling short. Every day we're failing. Every day we're making mistakes. Right. And so grace is another commitment of renewal every day. How can I show up with brand new grace? Not grace for myself, like because I wholeheartedly believe I can't give grace to me. You can't. But what I can do is extend grace. And as I extend grace, and I can become a recipient for others to do the same if they so choose, right? But this gift of grace is something that costs so much. And yet, when you give it liberally, you get so much in return, right? So yes, there's this commitment to love every day. There's also this commitment to grace every day. But those two core commitments are what inspire me to really celebrate the miracle of now and really get me to relish in moments like this where I get to share space with you and have my wife over here and celebrate her in person when usually she has to be tapping in on the stream to be able to recognize how much publicly I'm going to continue to profess what she knows I share privately.
Yo, I'm gonna just say this is dope. This is just dope. In fact, Mr. Did you say you wrote a book?
She got a piece published. What I'll do is I'll send it to you, and you can boost it out because it is fire. It is absolute fire.
Wow, man, you guys just bring a lot of good in. Where's Grab brought at? He must be. Oh, it bring a lot of. Jake was saying that this morning, right? We didn't know you were coming. We was like, man, Sean always just brings all this good energy out here, man. You know what I'm saying? And real quick too, speaking of good energy, we saw you moving around with your son.
Yeah, man. We had this is so wild, man, to think about. Like, my son turned 20. Okay, so we've been on a really long journey together. I remember one time he must have been like 3 or 4 years old. I was sleeping in this apartment and I was sleeping in a twin bed and had a pull-out bed he was sleeping on right underneath me. This is back when I had a milk crate for a nightstand. And I remember waking up in the morning, in the middle of the night, actually, and I drank some bad milk or something. My stomach was all messed up. And I remember this really clearly, like driving to Winco to get some Pepto-Bismol or something and having my little boy rub my back and tell me it was going to be okay, right? Like, Samuel and I have a story that's so special and so unique, and I'm grateful that as he's journeyed with me and chosen to continue to choose me as his dad, and I've continued to be able to be his father, we can celebrate like we did this weekend. And man, we had a blast. We went to LA and we watched the Seahawks play, and then hurried up and went to watch the Lakers play the Suns. We went on food tours and just spent 5 days loving on each other. We watched trash Netflix TV together in the hotel room. He played his whole playlist of music that I've never heard of in my life, like artists that I'm like, really, I don't, but do you? I guess, do you? But man, at the end of it all, I got to celebrate being his dad while celebrating him turning 20.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And one more thing that we have in common is that when you talk about love and you talk about grace and you talk about extension of grace and understanding, me and you have both extended a lot of love and grace to our Seattle Mariners.
Well, I tell people all the time, that like being a Mariner fan is the best exercise for a quality relationship later in life. Because no matter how much I've gone through with the Mariners, I keep coming back.
I keep coming back.
And maybe, and just with the promise that maybe one day it's gonna be right.
Oh man. Sean Goode, before we let you go, man, is there anything else that you want our viewing audience to know? The camera is all yours.
Yeah, O's made a commitment, and we're going to be doing this together once a month, I think on second Mondays, where I'm going to come on and talk about grace. And I'm looking forward to sharing space to be able to do that, and other things that are happening. Really cool. I just rolled out a podcast recently called Possibilities Over Problems.
Matter of fact, we got an overlay on that.
Did you?
Sorry about it. Yeah, look, I got so caught up over here. There he is, and we got a link to it as well. We'll put in the comments.
Yeah, so I rolled out this podcast. We're in pilot phase right now, working through some of the kinks, but I appreciate you like subscribing, liking it, sharing it, doing all the things that people in the podcast world do. It's cool because I've spent so much time in the area of youth violence prevention and gang intervention and diversion work and all of this like really important efforts that I've been able to be a champion of. And this podcast is different. I get to be like dad, and I get to be teacher, and I get to be young person and connect with young people, teachers and parents, and help amplify the possibilities that they create, which is really special to me, man. It's dope.
Look at you. And actually, we did have one more video here. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, you know what? I'm assuming you're going to say something like, man, this is an honor, but it's never really about me. It's about the work. Can you play this video right here? That's Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll wearing Choose 180 shoes that have the likeness of Sean Goode on the shoe. My friend, can we get an applause for Sean? Choose 180. Man, tell us about that.
Well, shout out first to Erica Schultz from Seattle Times. That picture that she took from the Times article that Tyrone Beeson wrote back in April of 2019 continues to get run, and that's the image that they took and put on the side of the shoe. You already know what I'm going to say. Look, like when it was brought to me that Coach was going to wear them, I was super pumped because what Coach embodies in leadership is something I am intentionally patterning myself after all the time. So I'm a big fan of Coach, not just who he is as a football coach, but who he is as a human. So to have him rocking Choose 180 cleats, shoes, even if they wear the Air Monarchs, right? Like I'm all about that. And then they said they were going to put my face on the side of the shoe. And I said, don't do that. I said, don't do that, right? Because like it's in this organization that I have the privilege of steward. I'm already face forward all the time. It's not about me. And then they did it anyways. And honestly, it's super cool. I'm really honored. And if my wife lets me, I'm gonna bid on those shoes and I'm gonna take them home and keep them for myself. Unfortunately, they're bid up to like $1,000 right now. So I might have to launch a GoFundMe in order to make this work. But at the end of it all, it's a great memory. It's a memory that I'm gonna hold and cherish for the entirety of my life. And I'm honored that the work that we're doing is being held in such a regard that Coach would wear them. And it is cool that, the face was on the side of them. I just hope that like my face being on the side is a reminder to the rest of us doing the work out here that we're not that far away.
Yeah, no. And one thing I feel you about that is every time that we're officially awarded something, I always tell people you need to award Converge Media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's the people behind the work. It's like you said there, Choose 180. But you know, this is a big deal though. I'm just saying, as somebody who knows you, Roxy, I'm like, hey, look at this, you know, I'm pressing pause on Hulu, rewind a little bit. Hey. All right, man. Tell people how they can catch up with you.
You can find me at Grace Over Guilt on Twitter and Possibilities Over Problems on Instagram. And of course, you can find the cause at I Choose 180 on all the other platforms. Even check me out on LinkedIn. Like, I'm super active there. Thank you so much, again, for the space that you create. And man, I can't wait to lean into next year with y'all and amplify grace as a monthly talking point around here at Converge.
That's it. I'm excited for it. I think, Mr. Director, we could probably end a few minutes. I don't think it's gonna get any better than this right here. So we're gonna go to the wide right here. And yeah, tomorrow I'm filling in for Trey Holiday, Feel Good Friday. Excited for that. There's no clapback culture tonight. So on that note, let me remind you, go forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Feel Good Friday, peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day.